everybody. Today we have more Erin Condren LifePlanner sneak peeks to go over. I'm so excited because this is like the chunky one, the big one that has all of the really good stuff that I've been looking forward to. And I'm so excited to show you everything and share what I think because this is going to be so much fun. But real fast, if you're new here, my name is 𝗬𝗲. I'm a planner addict, sticker designer, and cat mama to 𝗀𝗀𝗏 𝗀𝗏𝗏. So if you love videos like this, feel free to give us a thumbs up and maybe even subscribe. I also want to let you know that I had a live stream version of this where I was chatting in the comments, so there is a replay available for that on my channel if you're interested. And if you are watching on or around the date that this is being recorded, April 10th, I think it's going to come out on the 11th, but I'm not sure. Monday, the 17th, next week, I will be showing some new stuff. That is the date sneak peek number 3 comes out, but it's also the date that the embargo list for Erin Condren affiliates. And then the week after is when the launch actually happens. And that is going to be on, if I can get my screen to work, Monday, April 24th is when it opens for Erin Condren Insiders, and Tuesday, April 25th is when it opens for everybody else. If you are not an Erin Condren Insider and would like to sign up, there is a link in the description box down below that gets you $10 off your first Erin Condren purchase, and you can also become an Erin Condren Insider, which is totally free. So yeah, win-win for everybody. But we're here to look at sneak peek number 2, not number 1. So I'm gonna click this button. If it will ever click, we're gonna move down. I will say they've made the sneak peek page a lot easier to navigate from an analysis point of view. I highly doubt that my complaints last week were the reason, but thank you. You've made my life so much easier, team at Erin Condren. So today we're looking at the interior layouts, which is just so much fun. So what we're gonna do is I'm gonna go through Inspire and then we'll go through the other ones and I'll kind of point out a few differences, but there's so much here that we'd be here forever if I went through all of them in so much detail. So let's go ahead and get started. We're going to zoom in here, maybe not quite that much. There we go. That way I can actually navigate around. So I believe we've seen this image before where we have our main cover and then we have a picture of one of the month tabs. In this case, this is April, but every month is going to have its own color and its own quote. This is an interchangeable cover, as most, if not all, LifePlanner covers are. We're going to talk about that again a little bit later. So you can get this one if you get this theme, or you can get a different one, or you can get this cover with a different theme. So that's always fun. Next, we have the actual layouts. And the first one that we have to look at here is the vertical layout. Full disclosure, this is the one I am personally most familiar with. So I have a little bit more firsthand knowledge of what's changed and what stayed the same. The biggest change that we're seeing this year is this sidebar, and it's that the mini calendar, which in my head I always want to call a mini map, has moved from the bottom to the top. There aren't a lot of other changes. We still have our standard vertical columns, and you'll see that we have the rounded motif here. I believe the angle of that roundedness has stayed the same. Yes, in past years they have changed it, which I have gotten myself into trouble with because I design stickers for the planners, and yeah, sometimes when they make a change and I don't notice it, my sticker kits don't fit, which is lovely. So I will be analyzing this personally a little bit more for sticker related purposes, but for purposes of looking at what the changes are, they are highly minimal. I do want you to note how we have shaded headers and shaded bottom boxes on this one, because in upcoming layouts, we will see some differences, and I want to point that out. I also would like to point out the font here, as specifically up here. This is just kind of like a normal font, but we'll be seeing in another version that we have a very similar, if not the same font, but it will be italicized. So I just want to point that out now so we don't have to completely flip back and forth. Again, so much to go through. I want to use your time most efficiently, especially because this is supposed to be, you know, slightly shorter and I tend to ramble. Next, we have our horizontal. I wanted to call it hourly. That's coming up. We have our horizontal version. And again, this is very, very similar, if not almost the same as last year. I'm not as familiar with this one, but again, we have the same fonts here. And then notice, because this again will come up later with other options, that we have kind of the LifePlanner standard horizontal layout where you have Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, and then you have a notes section over here with a little mini calendar that takes up, I don't know, maybe approximately a fourth of that area, and then the rest of the area, both in the notes column as well as in all the other ones, are lined so you can write in them, but the daily ones actually have the date, whereas the notes doesn't. And then also this little box on this side is shaded. Again, we will be seeing some differences lately, or in just a minute, but not too many changes to look at. The big changes that we have this year are in the hourly. So there are a couple of huge changes in the hourly. First, let's kind of work from the top down. So previously, again, I don't use this one personally, so this is kind of my understanding of what's changed, and we'll see it a little bit more, but these headers used to be a little bit further down. They've moved them up so that there is a specific space to write above each of the days in the hourly planner. I like to think of this not only as a place for notes, but if you look at other calendars, specifically digital calendars like Google Calendar and whatnot, if you put in an appointment or an event that lasts all day, it will have a little bar at the top, you know, and just kind of shows it at the top of the day. And this is kind of the LifePlanner hourly equivalent of that, if you want to use it that way, of course. So I absolutely love that. We also have the mini calendar moving from the bottom up to the top, because we have habit trackers. We have 2 habit trackers in the hourly. Now, my personal question is, why did we get those in the hourly and not in the vertical? I understand why we didn't get those in the horizontal, because we don't have that same sidebar, but we do in the vertical. So why are those just in the hourly? I don't know. I think that's an absolutely wonderful addition. And as somebody who doesn't really use the mini month at a glance calendar, I actually kind of prefer to have it up here, because in my opinion, it tends to be a little bit easier to cover up with stickers. I am a sticker planner, and having the extra sticker, the extra full box stickers, since most kits come with 8 and they're 7 days, right up here is often something that I do anyway. So having the month at a glance right there makes it super easy to cover up. And if you're someone who doesn't like to cover that up, but you still like to use stickers, you could easily just use stickers, you know, in the sidebar, whether you're planning in vertical, hourly, what have you. So those are the big changes to the hourly. Again, a lot of these changes are fairly subtle, but we have some other big changes for other things coming up. So I think that's a little bit more of where Erin Condren focused their attention this year. And some of the other changes are things that I've been wanting for years for some other offerings. So I'm not complaining. But at this point, I feel like there's not too much they can do to the life planners to change things up, unless they're going to start squaring off the corners again and doing a lot of that stuff. Next, let's go ahead and take a look at the monthly page. Now, we got to see most of this last week, but it was a little bit cropped. So the big part that we couldn't see last week was we couldn't see the entire notes column. And specifically, I was wondering if there was going to be a month or next month calendar right here, and there is not. And I'm very happy about that, because again, I don't tend to use that as much. I personally use a digital physical hybrid. So I tend to do all of my, like, let's look at next month sort of deals on my phone or my computer. I don't need that in my physical planner. So I like that I have the extra room for notes. Other than that, and of course the Inspire stylized theme, there's not too much new about this one. I will point out that there is a dividing bar here between the calendar portion and the notes portion. We will see a couple of differences in how some of the other themes show this page. It's mostly just small stylistic things, but I do want to point them out so you know what to look for now, so that you can refer back to everything later. This is the yearly dashboard, some people call it. A lot of people use this for different things. One person in my stream said that she likes to use this to track her monthly progress towards her, I believe it was spending or budget goals. I forget exactly which one. But this is great if you do want to track something throughout the year. If you're trying to build your social media or something like that, you could track those stats. You could track fitness. You can track pretty much whatever you want here. And if you don't want to track something month by month because they are blank, you can fill something else in the header and do whatever you want with this space. This is at the front of the planner, by the way, in case you aren't aware. There isn't too much that they've changed on this page. They've just stylized it with the brush strokes for the Inspire theme. Functionally, they haven't really done much to it, so there's not much to really say about it. Next, we have our daily duo pages, and I believe this hasn't changed all that much from last year, though again, this is one that I have not used extensively, so I don't have as much of. And here we have our daily duo pages. Again, this is not one that I've personally used extensively, so I don't have as much knowledge just in my head about what all the little changes have been year to year. But as you can see, we have our hourly, we have our little month at a glance, a space for to-dos, as well as a space for notes or whatever else you want in it. And it is called a daily duo for anybody who doesn't know, because there are significantly more pages because you have to have one for each day versus a spread for each week. And therefore it comes in a set of 2 books versus just 1. Again, let's just kind of look at the basics of the stylization. We have the little bars across the top, which are going to change depending on the color for each month. And we have the little asterisk here. And then we also have our standard fonts that we're using across the rest of these planners right here. And those fonts are going to be something that does change between all the options, as we shall see as we're looking at wildflowers. And as I said, we have all these spread options for all of them. So mostly at this point, I'm going to go through and I'm going to point out those differences that we've already talked about. So here on the wildflowers, we have the vertical layout. Obviously, we have some very different fonts going on, specifically the script font, but we have the same mini map and the same sidebar. And then the vertical layout has all the same sizing. And by the way, they have confirmed that the sizing of the vertical and horizontal layouts have not changed, but you'll notice that we have shaded headers at the top, but we have these two being empty and our bottom boxes are not shaded in like they were in Inspire. So those are going to be the biggest changes between these two themes. And then when we get to Canvas, we'll kind of see even more changes in the themes between, the 3 and just little bits that they're changing. Again, it's all the same dimensions. It's just little changes that bring out different features and stylize them differently. Here is the horizontal theme. Again, the biggest difference is going to be the fonts here. You'll also notice that these boxes on the side are not shaded, and this also isn't shaded as well. But sizes are all the same, and we're mostly just looking at the same functionality. I believe there also wasn't specifically a line here to separate the shaded part from the unshaded part, but you could make an argument that that's there because it's not shaded. Next, we have our hourly layout, and apart from our different fonts, we mostly have the same changes going on. We have our little space up here. We have our habit trackers down here. Same column width and dimensions on the page. And by the way, with this one, while there have been some changes to how each day is laid out, the actual sizes of the columns as well as the sizes of the half-hour and hour boxes have not changed. So if you do have any existing stickers that fit perfectly in last year's hourly layout, they should still fit perfectly in this one. The only change is the entire column is higher to allow for this spot up here. Next, we're going to go here to the monthly page. Again, we saw most of this last time. The only thing that's new is that we weren't sure if there was going to be a next month little box down here. There is not. And then you'll also notice that there was a separation line in the Inspire theme separating this part of the calendar from the notes, and there is not in this one. Coming to this yearly dashboard, or whatever you want to call it, pretty much the same sizes. You just have more of a focus on the on text versus actually having anything to do with the theme up there. There are no wildflowers. It's just showing the more subtle colors that you'll see throughout of the book. And those are coordinated, I believe, with the months, which, you know, just goes to show that that's kind of what it's intended for. But because it does not say what is supposed to go in each of these, you could kind of use it for whatever you want. And this is the dashboard for wildflowers. And I have to say, while I am personally not the biggest fan of the floral themes, I absolutely love the way they've done this dashboard page, because I love that the entire background of this page is the florals, and then they've made each of the functional sections white. And going back to what I was saying last time about the inspired dashboard page, or I guess it was just a few minutes ago, not last time, I would have loved to see at least a little bit of the wildflower theme up here, or maybe around the side, just to kind of pull the pages together and make them look more like a cohesive spread. Though I will say that with the boxes being completely translucent or transparent, with the boxes being solid on this one, I feel like it makes this solid page look a little bit more cohesive than the Inspire one, where you had the graphics that were partly translucent going through a couple of the boxes. I loved that effect, but the fact that you don't have this on the other side of the page, to me, did not make it look like a cohesive spread, whereas this one looks a little bit more cohesive to me, in my opinion. We then have our daily duo page. Again, we have different fonts, but the layout is pretty much the same as what we saw in Inspire, with your hourly sections, month at a glance, to do, and space for notes. And that brings us to Canvas. Oh, so much to go through. You see why I'm talking fast and why I am trying to be somewhat condensed here with what I'm saying. Here we have our vertical pages. I feel like this is a wonderful amalgamation, oops, can't speak today, of what they did with Inspire and Wildflowers. None of these headers are filled in, whereas remember, Inspire had all of the headers shaded in, whereas Wildflowers had just the top one shaded in. The bottom boxes also are not shaded in, and then we're also seeing the same sidebar with the notes lines down here, and then also the mini calendar up here with the month up here. And this is either the same or a very similar font as we're seeing in Inspire, except this is italicized, whereas that one is not. We're gonna see a lot of the same changes across the other ones, where for the most part, this is going to be a mashup of the two. I would say this is more similar to the Wildflower version because you don't have the shaded boxes, but both Wildflowers and Inspire had a little shaded bar at the top. And Canvas is supposed to be the most neutral, the kind of thing that's going to be just the bare minimum with that Erin Condren stylized twist. Great for people that just want something basic, minimal, or people that are going to cover everything with stickers. So that's why they have made all of the header shading minimal, if not non-existent. And you also have the Erin Condren asterisks going out through the whole thing. But at this point, I've pointed so many of those out, I'm not going to do it every single time. Hourly, again, we have pretty much the same changes that we've seen before. The biggest difference being that this top here, where you see the days of the week, is not shaded. Same difference that we've seen between the hourly this year and last year in previous planner version. Moving right along, we come to our monthly page. Again, we've pretty much seen this before. The biggest difference between this one and the other one, besides not having any decoration here at the top, is that instead of saying notes right over here, we just have an asterisk. And that's the biggest thing to point out, but we already knew that from last week. Again, we do have our month or our yearly dashboard, if that's what you want to call it. This one is very similar to the Wildflowers one, except that the quote is in a different font. Other than that, pretty much the same. We have our monthly dashboard, and at first glance, this is going to look very plain, but if you look very closely, you can see that there are some Erin Condren asterisks up here. They are fairly light, so this definitely is not going to have a ton of color, design, etc. But Erin Condren has sprinkled their asterisks throughout, so you do get a little bit of, you know, something in some places because you have those asterisks. It's not entirely a blank canvas, I guess, for lack of a better term. Again, we have our daily pages, pretty much the same, and that's going to bring us to a close on Canvas. Next, we have our focused pages, and for anybody who's not aware, the Focus collection is a little bit different than the other ones because this has its own stylization, has some unique pages, and it is kind of sold as more of a minimal masculine version of the planners. And you'll notice a lot of similarities to Canvas, but they don't have something nearly as minimal as Canvas every year. And you also have some different ways that Focused is put together, some different sizing, layouts, and also not as many options throughout it. So let's go ahead and dive in. Focused is only available in a horizontal layout. And there are a lot of things on this page that I would like to point out that are different than the horizontal layouts on the other life planners. First off, each of the days, you have less room top to bottom on these days. And you'll also notice that these days are broken up. It's very faint on here, but you'll see that there are lines on this side, blank space on this side, no dividing line, and whereas the horizontal life planners typically have about a quarter of the day over here is separated off either by shading or by a box, and the rest of it is lined. And as I said, each day is going to be a little bit taller. Now, what do they do with that extra space? They have it saying what the month is up here, along with a month at a glance. And then you also have a much bigger notes section. And the notes section has a space for notes here, a to-do list, and the to-do list is going to go all the way down because there is no month at a glance down here like they would have on the horizontal layout. So you can see while this is definitely still a horizontal layout, it is significantly different from the hourly layout, or not the hourly layout, from the Life Planner horizontal layout. And we're going to see even more changes as we go through this. Here is the monthly layout, and there aren't too many ones. I know I just said there are significant changes. This one's not one of them. The biggest change here is that we do have the previous month and the next month over on this side. But other than that, it is pretty much the same that we're used to seeing. This is another page that we're not really used to seeing as much. The life planners, they didn't really show it, but they do have a page that has the current year's month, or the months of the current year is what I mean to say. They typically have 18 months and they don't have these spaces for notes, whereas the focused planner does just have the year. In this case, it's the year of 2024, and it has some space to write at the bottom. The life planners have something similar to this in the back for the next year, but the focused one has it for the current year. This is what I believe is the monthly dashboard in the focused planners, and you'll see that it is very, very different from the monthly dashboard in the life planners. On this side, we have a few different boxes, and it's a little bit subtle, but you'll see we have 3 sections of lined boxes over here. This, it looks like, is a to-do list section, and then this is a blank section. At the top, we also have month at a glance, whereas we don't have that at all in the Life Planner equivalent pages. And then on this side, we have a dot grid, not just lined paper. So many changes and differences going on here. And I've never really compared them so close together before, because in the past, Erin Condren hasn't really talked about the new focus planners at the same times as the life planners. So this is really interesting to be able to see the differences. They're also showing us the contact page, and they've had the contacts page in the Life Planner for several years. So I don't know if the fact that they're showing it in the Focus Planner is just showing it because the Focus Planner in some ways has a slightly different audience, you know, that little bit more like business audience in some ways, or if they've taken it out of the Life Planner, but I guess we'll just have to wait and see. And the last thing that we have here is a look at the US holidays, as well as a place to write down your important dates. Again, we have not seen a page like this in the Life Planners. We have had similar pages, but we don't have that in the previews, so we don't know if those are going to be here or not. And that is all of the themes that we have, but they have done this little layout update section here where they're just talking about the updates we've already talked about to the hourly layout. So you have this extra space here, mini month move to the top of the page, and 2 weekly habit trackers. Next, we're going to look at the fully customizable ring agenda system. And they have something I've been telling them they need to do, you know, yelling at them in a video that I don't even know they're watching for years. And that is they need to do more inserts for their ring agendas, and they've finally done it. Calendar options, you have different notebook insert options, and then you also have budget wellness checklist and meal planning inserts. So let's go ahead and dive into this and take a look at what we have here. We'll also see a couple of accessories as we're going through this page. So let's start right up here. I know it's kind of fuzzy when we zoom in, but it's a little bit easier in some ways to see, especially if you are looking at your phone, because it's going to be so small if I don't zoom in. So I apologize for the low resolution. It's what I got to work with. So here we have, it looks like the wildflower theme in the horizontal layout, pretty much the same as the 7x9, which is what we've been going through before. And then we also have a snap-in sticky note dashboard. They do these every year for the different themes, and I love these. They're a great buy if you love sticky notes. And they also have a version that snap into the spiral planners as well as the ring agenda. We also see a pen here that has the wildflowers theme on it, as well as a snap-in or a magnetic dashboard. They introduced these last year, and it looks like they're bringing them back this year with the new themes. I believe this is also a new planner folio cover color. Say that 5 times fast. And I believe the idea of being able to personalize it with initials or something like that is new this year as well. So a lot of new options. Down here, we can see not only the compact vertical layout, which doesn't really look like it's changed, but we can see a couple of inserts as well as accessories. We have a pen over here. They usually do kind of a nice pen with the theme every year, so I'm not surprised. And then we have some inserts. So we have a look at the wellness insert, says wellness goals, has a blank spot here and a place to write things down. Over here we have a graph page insert, as well as what looks like a checklist insert. And I think this is so cool, especially for people that use their planners primarily for to-do lists like I do, but maybe aren't so great at using them either every day or every week, because this is approximately the same size as the compact vertical. So in theory, you could use this in place of a compact vertical if most of what you're putting in is to-do list items anyway. And what this has the benefit of doing is, because it's not dated, if you end up not planning a week for one reason or another, you don't have that blank space in your planner. So that could be really helpful. Could also just be helpful for people that want to make a lot of to-do lists or want to be able to separate out their to-do list into different categories, whether that's different projects, different tasks, or different areas of their life. Moving on, because there's so much in this one picture, we have another pen. We also have a look at the ring agenda daily layout. Again, we have the same features that we saw in the 7x9 spiral bound, where we have our hourly section, we have our month at a glance, to do, and a place to take notes down here. And we also have a look at the meal planning inserts. It looks like they have a place to write in breakfast, lunch, and dinner for every day of the week, as well as a spending summary page for the budget inserts. And that's just the first one looking at all of these inserts. As I said, there's so much to go through here. Now this one does actually just show things that we've pretty much already looked at, which is nice. And it does confirm that we are going to have inserts for all three themes. We have canvas, wildflowers, and oh my goodness, I'm inspired. I forget what it's called. I'm blanking. We're just gonna move on because this is already so long. Next, we have a couple of different features of the ring agenda. So they're pointing out that we have the sturdy 6-ring binder rings, durable laminated tabs. Those are pretty standard across the different planners. And we have a thick Mohawk 80-pound text weight pages, which is one of the big reasons why a lot of people love Erin Condren planners is the paper. And this is shown in the blush agenda, but you can only get really small looks at what it looks like. So, you know. Next, we have a look at some of the inserts. This, it looks like it's a productivity insert, and Erin Condren offers this in a couple of different things, whether it's in their petite planners or other notebooks. But there is a space to write on this side, and then a separated space out here where you can put to-dos, important notes, basically anything that you want to separate out from the main part of the page. I have personally never figured out the best way to use these, but that's just me and my style. I would love to hear how you use a page like this. Is it kind of like this where they have you do the to-dos over here and you do other stuff on the main part of the page, or do you have a different style? Love to hear about it. It looks like here is a better look at the spending summary, as well as an idea of how you would use it. So you have the date, description of what it was, category, and the total amount. This is another look at the wellness pages. So we're seeing a couple of different pages, even though we're not seeing the entirety of those pages. So on this side, we have this week's wellness, daily movement, and you can kind of write down what is here. You also, on this page, it looks like have a habit tracker up here where you can write down the habits and then check off when they're done. And we can't see what the header on this one says, but there's a space to write in whatever it is down there. Next we have the meal plan insert. As I mentioned, we have breakfast, lunch, and dinner for every day of the week. I wish they'd added in snacks because snacks are amazing, but they have not. But it looks like there is a blank page on the other side of the spread, so you could always put your snacks in there, but that's good for any notes or just anything that you want to write down that maybe doesn't fit specifically in these little boxes. Over here, we also have a look at a couple of the other inserts right over here at the edge. The top one is one that I'm really excited about. It's a checklist insert, and it's in the style that Erin Condren has previously only used in the teacher lesson planners for the grading portion of the book. And I've said for years that this is a great layout for checklists of any kind. And they have now brought inserts specifically to the ring agenda with the LifePlanner layout for non-teachers to use for different checklists in their life. So I think this is really awesome. I think this should have happened sooner, but I'm glad that we have it. And we also have, it looks like, some lined inserts, and these are held together with what may be new paper clips. I just wanted to point that out because it's a little detail that, you know, we haven't necessarily seen yet. We also have another one of the pens. It looks like this one is in wildflowers right here. And I believe that's the last photo we have for this. Yep, we are back to the beginning. So here is a little chart of the different layouts and the different sizes they're available in. So we have our coiled weekly life planner. We have our vertical, horizontal, hourly, and compact vertical. It's available in A5 and 7x9. Some of these are just A5, some are just 7x9, so those are mentioned there. And then interior designs available are inspired, canvas, and wildflowers. You'll note layout and designs may vary by size. So it looks like the interior design for canvas is only available for the 7x9, but not the A5, which is a very interesting note. For the Daily Duo, that is available in A5 and 7x9. And that we have Inspire, Canvas for the 7x9, and Wildflowers. Again, Canvas seems to just be 7x9, and if you want to go A5, you have to choose between Inspire and Wildflowers. You don't have the option for Canvas. In some ways that actually makes a lot of sense, because Canvas, I can tell, was really designed to fit sticker planners' needs. And sticker planners, typically, the people that specifically cover their whole page with stickers, a lot of times use the 7x9, at least that's what I've seen. So it will be interesting to see if people are really clamoring for a smaller canvas type layout, and if they release that at a later time, or they release an A5 version of Canvas next year. This also, even though we haven't really seen it, confirms that we will be getting spiraled A5, and because the ring agenda and spiral A5 layouts are the same, I'm kind of putting them into one category, because the difference is how they're bound or punched. Next, we have the A5 ring agenda. Our options are horizontal, daily, and compact vertical. This is only available in A5, and our themes are Inspire, Canvas, and Wildflower. Now, this is interesting because it looks like we only have Canvas available for the daily duo for 7x9, as well as the coiled A5 life planners. But it looks like we do have this available for the ring agenda A5. So it's a very interesting difference in how they're offering that. Lastly, we have the Focus Planner, which is horizontal. It looks like they're offering that in a 7x9 coil or an A5 ring agenda, and the interior design is the Focus design. They also have a virtual event coming up on April 19th, so you can go ahead and sign up for that on this sneak peeks page. And we have some new accessories, including this multicolored coil. Oh my goodness, I love it. I do want to point out, and this was pointed out to me by someone in my stream earlier, this would have worked really well with color blends last year. And they even show the text multicolor coil in a very similar style to color blends. I wouldn't have been surprised if this was initially planned for last year to come out with color blends, and for some reason had to get pushed. I still absolutely love it. I will point out that last year they got rid of the black coil, which would increase the likelihood that they got rid of the black coil because they wanted to do this, and something came up. Maybe it was a supply chain shortage. I don't know. That is completely a theory, by the way. I am an Erin Condren affiliate and do get some inside information. That is not anything I've had confirmed. That is a theory. That is a guess. Take it for what you think it's worth. The next thing that they want to announce is new snap-in vegan leather covers for the life planners. The Focus planners still have the permanent vegan leather covers. In the past, some life planners have some years been available with a permanent vegan leather cover. This year they're doing removable snap-in vegan leather covers as an option that you can buy both with a life planner and separately. We are almost to the end, guys, I promise. Next, we have our premium zip folios, and this is a new design. I was not super impressed with the last zip folios that Erin Condren introduced. Maybe it was because I had an 18-month planner at the time, but it just felt very snug. It didn't really feel like it fit, and I didn't really feel like I needed it. But this is the zip folio version of those like really swanky binders that at least they used to make for kids, that like zipped up and then it had like all the pockets. My mom never bought one for me. We always did like the basic on sale binders and, you know, bare bones. Yeah, that's what we got. But I was always jealous of the kids that had the swanky binders with like all the pockets in the front. And this is the planner folio version of that. So it has space for the actual life planner, as well as a few accessories here. I'm guessing this is either a sticker book or a petite planner. It looks like we have two different kinds of pens. These two, I should probably zoom in so you can see a little bit better. These two are dual point, and these two aren't. My guess is that these are wet erase and these are not, but I could be completely wrong. On this side, we also have a really small look at the Inspire magnetic dashboard, as well as something here At first I thought it was some sort of divider tab, which didn't necessarily make sense in this context, but then someone brought up that it could very well be sticky notes, which I think makes a lot more sense. And then you can also see from this photo that they are showing a few different cover designs or outer designs for these planner folios. We have Inspire, Canvas, we have a geometrical circle pattern, as well as Inspire. And then you can see on this side that there are a couple of different options for at least the Canvas. You can have a different background option, as well as personalize these. And there's also a accent fabric portion on the spine of the planner folio, which I think just makes it so cute. I absolutely love it. And I'm really excited on the off chance. I doubt it will fit my iPad, but I wish it would. And I hope that they release a bigger one that would fit my iPad, because this kind of thing would be perfect for travel. And that is all for now, guys. I know I've spoken so much and I appreciate you sticking until the end. We're going to have more on April 17th, but next week is going to be a little bit different because that is also the date that the embargo lifts for Erin Condren affiliates, as well as the PR box that I have not received yet, but I will be getting some of these goodies a little bit early so I can share with you. So I don't know exactly what's gonna go on. I may just release a video on Monday, April 17th, showing the goodies that they sent me, and then a day or two later do a stream and or a recorded video showing all of the different sneak peek things for next week. I don't really know what the next week's sneak peek is going to be because they've already showed a lot of accessories, and my guess was next week was going to be accessories. So maybe it's more accessories, maybe it's something entirely different. But if you do want to see whatever happens next week, make sure to subscribe to the channel and click the bell so you get notified. Also give this video a thumbs up, and I'd love to hear in the comments below what you think of all of these goodies. Are you excited for this planner launch? Are you kind of meh about it all? What planner are you gonna get if you're gonna get a planner? If you're not gonna get one from this launch, why not? Is there another planner you like better? Is there another reason going on? I wanna know. And with that, I will see you guys next time. Thanks for watching. Bye.